My name is Chuck T. I'm a grateful recovering addict. And I want to thank those who read and those who supported Phil in this conference, and thanking Phil for asking me to come up here and share how sweet 16 is for me. My clean date is 7/15/02. I celebrated 16 years this year. And Phil said it's a sweet 16 because this program or this conference been in effect for, I believe, 16 years. This is my second time around coming in here. When it was first introduced, like, when the program started, when I got into these rooms, I didn't really get into the, the meeting conference because I was still new into the program. As time went on, as I got into my addiction as a young man, cruising around the hood and hanging with the dudes, and selling the weed and picking up all the girls that I could find and enjoying my life when I was young, thinking I was invincible. Smoking marijuana and drinking and driving, and back in those days, as long as you was going under the speed limit, you wasn't getting pulled over. But at that time, because there wasn't no gang banging, wasn't no rivals shooting at each other. At that time, we just traveled from city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, and party back then. That was, what I was doing. I was enjoying my life at that time. But at the time, I was still getting into my addiction. As time went on, I hang with a bunch of crew from the north side. I'm originally raised from Braddock. My mother moved into Homestead. That's where I was raised up at. My cousin lived on the north side. I was hanging with a north side crew, basically, because we were scalpers. We were scalpers. We scalped tickets. That's what I did. As a young man, that's why I wanted that pit helmet, because I remember back in the days I was scalping tickets, with Dan Marino and Tony Dorsett, when they were running, and I was down there in the pit, down there in Oakland, hustling newspapers, and before you know it, I started selling tickets. And at that time, as a young man, flipping $100 to make 100 out of 1,000, just selling, newspapers and tickets, that was a lot of money for a young fella. That was a hustle. So as I went on in life, I started to learn how to do that, and the guys that I grew around with, that's what we did in the stadiums. So every time you see a scalper, you can just think of me, because a lot of us been doing this for over 35 years, faithfully, and I still do it today. I can't let go because it's a beautiful thing. It was one of those things, but as we kept making the money, and at that time, we got caught. I got caught into, the drugs on the streets, the get high, the partying. Here come the crack cocaine. First we learned how to cook it and all those good things, and how to use it and put it in our head. But at the time it was fun because all the women liked to do it too. And before you know it, we all had a nice party. But at the time, I didn't know that the drugs was going to take over my body and my mind and my spirit. Because I felt, this was a fun thing to do. As time went on, I kind of cleaned up because I fell in love with a young lady. I got married. As a young man, I had me and my wife. We got 6 kids together. I was doing the right thing as a father, as a man, as a husband, and at that time, I used my education, to further myself by picking jobs and going after jobs, that I choose to want. And at the time, I ended up landing on with Port Authority. And at that time, Port Authority, when I first came into that situation and atmosphere, you had a lot of people driving, and a lot of mechanics, a lot of professionals, but they were all still using. you know, that's what blew my mind, because I was here working with a company, you know, with professional people, and they were getting on the buses getting high. You know, they were in the rooms getting high. They were downstairs in the basement getting high. And at that time, you know, it was new to me, but it was crazy because I was on a job that I didn't expect that to happen. So as time went on, as we know, you know, the drugs started to change, because before you know it, the powder became crack cocaine. And crack cocaine started taking everybody to another level. And at that time, you know, I was like, wow. I started to see how it changed in my life, and I started to see the changes around in my life. As time went on, I still being a functional addict, you know, using and still going to work and still trying to hold down a job and still trying to take care of a family and be supportive and still partying over the weekend. Well, a lot of that started to catch up on me because, like, you know, you can't outdo the drugs is going to outdo you. And as time went on, I started to have marriage problems because I wasn't communicating with the family, even though I might have been there. Sometimes, you know, I'm being supportive by paying all the light, gas bills, and car notes and mortgage, and all that was covered. You know, that was no problem. But just being a supportive father, you know, and being a supportive husband, that didn't happen because I loved the drugs. You know, I went out and started loving the drugs more than I loved my family. And before you know it, the crash came in. The wife stepped out of the marriage. The kids started to leave home. And before you know it, I started to get angry and mad because of a father that I am who's proud up and seeing the world fall in front of me. You know, the job came in and they tested me and they told me, you know, you got a dirty urine, buddy. You need to go get yourself cleaned up. Well, I said, I ain't got the problem. Y'all got the problem. I don't need to go clean up. They said, well, you ain't coming back to work until we find out that you cleaned up. So that time went on. They sent me through a drug treatment program. It was Greenbrier. You know, I went through there. They had me going to outpatient for a while. And I was an outpatient going during the daytime, you know, and sharing and listening to the counselor try to teach me, you know, about the drug addiction and what my problem is, and telling me to go get a sponsor and go to meetings and so forth. I wasn't hearing it at that time, you know, because I would go to the meeting during the day, and then when I go home, everything was still chaotic, so I still went out and used, you know. Excuse me. But through that process of me using, through the program, when they told me when I went to Greenbrier, they said, you got 3 strikes. And after 3 strikes, you getting kicked out of this program. Well, at first they said, well, you already got 1 strike because you came in here dirty. So you got 2 more. So before you know it, I turned around and ended up burning both of those strikes. And I ended up being outside, not getting back in and not getting back to work. So then my union steps in and they go, well, we got to help you out because, you know, we are a strong union and we do support our employees who's having a drug problem, which came from predecessors before me who created that program to be strong enough for what it is today through the addicts who had problems before me. So then they kind of got me back into the program, you know, and they told me you need to be an inpatient. I said, yes, I do, because if you're trying to get me to get clean and get myself together, going through an outpatient, it's just not going to happen. So they got me an inpatient, and the way God works, they put me in a room with a guy who just could not sleep, you know, and for some reason, he allowed to keep an eye on me and keep me strong. So as I continue going through the program, NA supported me, and today it got me where I'm at today. I'm grateful to be where I'm at today. I'm grateful for the predecessors who came before me. I'm very proud about seeing how the program works for me, and it's beautiful to have 16 years. It's a miracle. It truly is a miracle because I've seen a lot of loved ones who ain't here today, which truly I could share in front of them, but they're not here today. You know, they're passed on because of this drug addiction. So I could just say to those who still have hope, keep coming back, because this does work. This program truly works for me, and it works for all of us, as long as we are men who can stand here and support each other, no matter if you're black or white or purple or green. The bottom line is the drugs went through a lot of many hands to get to yours, and it came through a lot of faces, but we all still picked it up and used. And just for today, I'm being grateful. Thank you.